at Compass Realty. So, and thank you so much, Queenella, for having me on here to speak. This is definitely an honor. So I'm definitely, we definitely got to meet up too. We got to hang out too. So, yeah, because I know we got to link up. I'm over here in Brooklyn, me in New York. So, okay, so I just start off then, right? So, yeah, so my name is, so my name is Claudette Rolling. I am, yes, thank you for the introduction, Queenella. So yes, I am an associate broker at Compass Realty. I am also an investor. I also do public speaking as well. And I also teach at a real estate school where I teach other realtors how to obtain their license as well. My story, it is something. And yeah, where does it start for me? I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. I never thought I would be a realtor. That was my last thought in my mind. I thought I was going to be working at Hot 97, Fox 5. I thought I was going to be an A&R rep. That's literally, if anybody knew Claudette, I was going to be in entertainment, helping other people with their portfolios, and just doing that whole spiel. But for me, I graduated in 2010. And if you guys remember how 2008 was, if you were graduating in 2010, there were no jobs. There were nothing there. So I graduated with a bachelor's in business management, and I did it. I had the intern at Hot 97 for 2 years. I was the last intern to enter into Fox 5. So I was like, all right, great. You know, I'm seeing people pack their boxes and they're like, yeah, we don't have any jobs. So I was like, all right. So next thing was for me I ended up being a manager in Jersey Garden Mall. In that time frame, it was so much that was changing. I was there for 4 years and then they let me go. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with how working in retail is just like the merchandise. They will change you out real quick. So they changed me out and they basically were like, you know, it was some LP. Basically, they were saying that I would use my discount for my friends and family, people that were graduating from college and stuff. And on there would say like, well, hey, no, you can only use your discount for your husband and kids. So I was like, oh, okay. So one day I used it for graduation, someone graduating, and they were like, oh, you're technically stealing from the store by you doing that. So I was like, oh, wow. And then they didn't know me using my discount, but come to find out they were changing people in the store. So they would just find every little reason to get people out. So now I'm 27 years old. No, I was 24 at the time. And I'm like, I don't have a job. And I was going through a tough patch in my relationship. And my mother also, who was diagnosed with lupus, ever since the age of 13, it was always just taking care of mom. It was progressing. And it's so crazy because when you're working and you're just on that go of, you know, career, you're just not really seeing what's going on in your personal life until it actually hits you right then and there. So I was like, all right, I looked online, I looked on Indeed and saw a job for a real estate assistant. And I was like, okay, if I could sell luxury watches, I can move real estate. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. I know how to move these streets. This is how it's gonna go. And I honestly have to say, getting into the industry changed my life trajectory 100%, 1000%. In the beginning for me, starting in the industry, I thought I was always about just getting money. That was the whole thing, make money, make money, make money. Because I had bills that was piling and everything. So it was just like making money. My first year, made money. But as her health was progressing in a downward spiral, it was literally the only, and I realized this after therapy, it was the only industry that allowed me to have those last moments with her. So what I can definitely say from my journey and having to make those life changes, I can't believe I'm feeling a little emotional about it because I really don't. If anybody knows who I am, I'm very much of a person that I keep a lot of things in. So one of the things that made me push myself out of, say, financial distress, terrible, traumatic relationships, was always the thought of wanting better. So in the speech, talking of the exercises and seeing what was happening at home, I put myself in a position of every birthday I'm going to spend with her. So I dedicated all my birthdays for her. And, when you're going through certain things, you feel like it's not going to happen. This is not going to happen. So, so I dedicated all my birthdays with her. And I was like, okay, this is the only, I can leave anytime, come in the hospital. I'm over there with her. I'm doing work. So that's how it was happening, right? So for my professional career, my mother she passed 5 years ago. So she saw me progressing, but where I'm at now in my life really changed the way that where I'm at in my life has put me in the space where I'm like, I know that she knows that I'm okay. So one of the things is that I've noticed is that in my career, I've exercised the fact of having faith, right? Having faith in the process, having the goal to move forward in, right? So mentally for me, it was very tough because I was the sole person doing everything for the family. So the main thing that held me on, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, spiritually, I was not there. Once she passed, I felt like this is it, that I'm not. There's no point in praying. There's no point in having any point of faith. And I literally lost myself. But professionally, you would think that everything was on the up and up. I'm just like, okay, I'm just moving forward and just not realizing the severity of that. You need to have that balance of spirit and how much of it is connected with your mental and spiritual at the same time. And I realized this was the way I was raised, and in my family household, the women were very strong. So I was used to being that strong woman and building and constantly just, listen, I'm the same way in my industry. I love hard and I work hard, and the way I'm used to putting a lot on my back and putting myself in the back burner. And what basically put me in the space of realizing that I needed to take care of myself, need to put myself first, was realizing how I was falling in a downward spiral privately, in a way. When she passed, I was drinking a lot. There was no stopping to it, blackouts, things like that. You at an event, Claudette is crying. So it was like, okay, there's a problem here. So what I did do, I ended up taking myself to go and do therapy, which was not encouraged a lot in my family dynamic. Therapy was never ever a thing to do. But when I had the blessings from my own sister, like, listen, this is because you lost your best friend. This is, yes, and it is. And I would definitely say what helped me in my mind in my career, and also me personally, because I can run through the whole career, but behind Claudette, what Claudette has, personally went, it was definitely different mental stages that I need to get into my life. I had to get back to my foundation. I lost my foundation. I didn't grow up in a home of abuse, but I was in a relationship that was like it. And it was like, well, why are you in this? And that's where I realized I was losing myself. So one thing of advice that got me through it was getting into therapy. And I picked a therapist that dealt with grieving for my age. I am 35. And going through that, it helped me appreciate the processes, appreciate the accomplishments that I've accomplished in my life, and understanding that she was ill, and understanding that, it's just our own mindset of, basically like stay, but she was suffering here, and it was her time. So one of the things that and a lot of my professional skills, and it's so crazy because my mother was a very dynamic, like very strong woman, and handled herself with so much poise. I'm more of the barker, but she was the type that I would see some of her personality seeping through me, where if something is too crazy, that would be her pouring in through me. So to give you guys some advice, But on the professional level, I always try to check in my emotions. I try to make sure on a professional level, especially when dealing with clients and progressing in myself, in my career, I'm always looking at, like, I pull my emotions away, but also still being sympathetic and empathetic in the situation as well, and being very solution driven. So that's one way that has pushed me in that trajectory in my professional career. Mentally, I feel like I'm still a work in progress, but one of the things that has helped me as well is doing journaling. I have a lot of anxiety. I feel like New York City just gives you a lot of anxiety in general. I live in Brooklyn, born in Brooklyn. Like, it's just like the anxiety is on 1,000. You can wake up and just be like, what is happening right now? And I'm very hard on myself. I am beyond hard on myself. And I'm learning to give myself grace. And this has been probably 2 years ago, just realizing it. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a very transparent person and very authentic with myself. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Mentally and spiritually, I'm just now starting to read the Bible and get in a better relationship, probably a year ago, but reading the Bible happened probably last week. And I don't understand the words, but I will honestly say spiritually, I have been in that space of understanding and just getting there, just to get there. So my morning ritual, I wake up, I listen to I listen to empowering speeches, such as I mean, there's a plethora of them that is running through my mind, but I usually go on motivation YouTube to just listen to keep the motivation going. But also for me, I am a high level energy person, right? So to all my high level people out there, it's like, we gotta try to come down when we coming home, right? How do we decompress? So one of the things I try to do, I try to journal first thing as well. And also I'm getting into that routine of reading the Bible first thing, trying to not get on social media, trying not to get on the screen as the first thing. So that's something that's been working for me to decompress and to try to just get my space in there. Another thing is financially. So yes, I am an investor. I want to make sure I'm not going over time. I'm looking at the clock. So as an investor, I did buy in Brooklyn, New York. So one of the things financially, I really try to make sure that I'm in the present. And also my mother always taught me, and well, my father also was in my life as well, but my parents always taught me that, you know, at least share a piece of what you've accomplished. Try to at least celebrate what you've accomplished. And I find that it sometimes can be a very hard thing to do, especially in any industry, or whatever you're doing. Is you're a boss lady doing your thing, sometimes we don't sit back to really enjoy that moment. And I'm just now enjoying my home, and I purchased it a year ago. So one of the things that really pushed me in the for that, and when I say mentally as well, and also with the purchase of the property, was to keep the goals in the realistic pattern for me that worked for Claudette. And I can definitely dive into it, anyone that's interested in hearing more on that. Emotionally, I am emotionally, I know I'm a work in progress as well, but I have definitely mastered the art of channeling my own energy, channeling the accountability factor. I find that one thing that we do as humans, it's easy for us to go and tell you what to do, but sometimes people don't practice what they preach. And I've tried to make sure that I'm being an example of it. Now, I'm not Mrs. Perfect. I try not to be. I think that would be a very daunting task to be Mrs. Perfect. But what I can do is be as genuine and as authentic as possible. So some of the books that has definitely put me in that space professionally and even personally, I am currently reading Boundaries, that is teaching me this, because I didn't have any boundaries. I have no boundaries whatsoever. I'm the oldest sister, so there was no boundaries. Even when my sister would steal my shirts, no boundaries. So learning that, even now at this age, I'm learning that I need to build these spaces so that I can protect Claudette as well. You know, some of the books that have definitely helped me in my life has been Atomic Habits, Ninja Selling, which obviously I'm a realtor as well. I wanted to also state one of the affirmations that has helped me every day, that I notice that I'm writing and that I'm being very soft and genuine with Claudette, because one of the energies that I find myself always tuning is more of a masculine energy, right? I get perceived as being very masculine. I'm the homegirl. I'm the, but then it's like I want to be feminine too. I want to be in my feminine space. I want to be treated with that feminine energy. But I noticed that the reason for that energy comes from a space of where we're guarded and we're just trying to protect ourselves, and because of the hurt and hurdles that we've been through in our lives. And I'm learning to realize that I can use that energy in so many ways that has not only just putting me in a space of where it's like, yeah, you're that homegirl, but it's like, listen, I need some gentle love and care, and I have to learn our mouth is powerful, and we really do cast spells sometimes on ourselves that we don't even realize it. So if I keep saying I got masculine energy, that's all that you're gonna keep getting. So I'm learning how to like talk to her and talk to Claudette more in a softer manner tone. So one thing I say every day is that you're beautiful and you're wonderfully made. Say that all the time. And I try to believe it as well. And the reason why I say I try, because I deal with those things all the time. It's believing in my own beauty, even my own hair texture, all the way down to the nail follicles, I have to say. And then one quote that resonates with me is one of my grandfather, which states that yesterday was history, today is victory, and tomorrow is a mystery. And it always keeps me in a space of like, I need to be here and be present.